Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Hunt Country Club for a major event, the City of Lynn, and also Lynn Classical High School. It's Hall of Fame night for the Rams. They changed it from athletic to those that contribute, so you don't have to be an athlete at Classical anymore. That was the way before. The chairman of the committee, Danny Dill, is with me, and he's been with it since the inception of this thing. And Danny, it's always a great event. Classical alumni get together, people meet each other that haven't seen each other in years. It's always a great night for the city, the school, and the people involved.
You know, it really is a special event, John. It's like a trip down memory lane. Gives us an opportunity to bring back people that graduated from Classical that have accomplished significant things, both athletically and achievement-wise. And every time we do it, there's no better feeling than help celebrating this, and people embrace it and love it and talk about it for years to come. But it really is a special event. We look forward to it. We do it every other year now.
This is the 28th year, and I've been doing just about every one of them.
Yes, you have.
And each and every year I say the same thing all the time. It's nice for me to be here because a lot of very good friends, people I've known, teammates, people I've watched that have athletics through the years, family members I know. It's a great thrill for me too, and it's a lot of terrific people, and it's a great night, and a lot of more. It's going to be 16, I believe, is the number tonight, and that's 16 more great people that are going to go into the Hall of Fame, and Classical is going to be that much more rewarded by this 16 bodies.
4 years ago, used to be strictly the Athletic Hall of Fame, but people approached me and said, you know, we have so many people that have accomplished so many great things that aren't athletes. Would you consider thinking about involving the achievement part of it and stuff like that? So I was just kidding around to the person that approached me, and I said to him, name one person that I can't say no to, and we'll start the Achievement Hall of Fame. We'll incorporate it into the Athletic Hall of Fame. He goes, how about Dave Solimini? I said, done Dill. Who's better than Dave? And who's put more time into the community than Dave? But since that start, we have the achievement. You know, we've had generals. We have people that are Fortune 500 companies, professors, you know, at Harvard, Yale, schools like that. Just a lot of successful people. It gives us an opportunity now to celebrate their success along with the people that have done great things athletically. It's really a perfect combination. We're thrilled with it.
Well, it also shows that the City of Lynn, the education you get going through the schools, the public schools in the City of Lynn, can bode you very well. All you have to do is put the work and the effort in, and you too can be successful with the education you get at all these schools, including all the high schools and the middle schools and the grammar schools. There's a lot of great teachers out there, a lot of great people that get these kids started up the line, and they wind up going to great colleges. They play sports in college, whether they do or don't. They become successful people, and most of them come back to the City of Lynn and give back to the city.
You know, we push that all the time, people coming back and get involved in the community. As far as we're concerned, the athletic success of Lynn Classical is as good as any in the state. I mean, you look at the number of professional athletes we've had Olympians, we've had college All-Americans, we've had professional you know, people that were in consideration for the Heisman, things like that. So, you know, we feel very, you know, excited when we get a chance to celebrate the success of all our graduates, because, you know, there's nothing better than to see other people that you know or have the same background as you succeed in life, and we embrace that completely.
Well, thank you for being with us and getting us kicked off and getting us started. And Danny's going to be sort of like the quarterback calling signs. He's going to be out there grabbing all the people who are being inducted and shoveling over to us so we can start interviewing the different inductees. So great job by you and your committee once again. Another great night with great people. Thank you for getting us started, and I look forward to you sending everybody in.
John, thank you for all you've done with us for so many years. You're an important cog in the whole event, and it wouldn't be the same if you were here. So thank you for all the sweat equity you've put in to help make this, you know, our event successful. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. I didn't recognize this young lady with all the softball in her hand. Christina, my host, Grenice, 2003. One of the younger people here graduating in 2003. So the first question I always ask is, what was it like when you got the call and they said, Christina, we thought you did very well. We were in high school. We want you to be a part of the Classical Hall of Fame.
So it was the weekend, my birthday weekend actually, that I got the call, and I was completely shocked and very, very, very happy. I actually cried I took the bar exam, became a lawyer, and didn't cry. But with the letter that I received from the Hall of Fame, I did cry, and I was overjoyed.
Well, I looked and of course, I did the games when you were pitching. We became friends way back then. I'm a good friend of your father's for many years. I looked, all you did for your softball career was, some people go, like you look at Red Sox baseball, every 5 days they might pitch. You pitched every inning of every game in your junior and senior year.
Yeah, I look back at it, and I actually had to call Chris Warren to actually ask him if it happened, because I can't believe, looking back at it 15 years later, it's crazy that happened. But I did, and I survived, right? You
didn't just compete. You were an NEC All-Star, a Herald All-Star. You made the Aganis All-Stars. You got scholarships along the way. I'm looking, in your senior year, 126 strikeouts, but you also batted .352. You did it on both sides of the ball, and then you worked hard, went to school, kept working hard, kept the school you mentioned. You became a lawyer along with your father, and you've got a great career, and I'm sure you credit Classical with part of that.
I credit Classical with most of it. Everything that I learned, I tell everybody that everything that I learned came from the Lynn Public Schools. I'm very, very, very proud graduate, and I'm very, very proud to go there, and I'm so happy I got this call. I got to relive all my memories and discuss them and talk about them with my friends, many of who are coming here tonight to support me. So I'm very, very proud to be a Lynn Classical graduate.
Well, you graduated from Boston University, and then you went on and you started teaching, and the first job, and you thought maybe that would be your life, but then you worked very hard, and we mentioned hard work gets it done. While you were teaching, you went to Suffolk, got your law degree, and now you're a full-fledged lawyer doing very well.
Yes, so I actually taught at Lynn English for a little bit too, and coached softball there. And at night I was going to law school and completing my classes, and now I'm an attorney in Salem, and it's very, very exciting.
I'm sure at the time you said, what am I doing this? I'm going 24 hours a day. Am I ever going to get any rest? And now you look back and say, thank God.
Yeah, and I look back at it and say, how did I do it? But I did it, and it's wonderful. Everything's wonderful.
You did it very well. It brings back some very good memories for me, Christine.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I talked I knew a lot of these people. I knew a lot of these people that are being inducted. Some of them are very close friends. Some of them I did their games when they played. And I have a very great relationship with this young lady. I go back to the time I was very young, going down the beach playing baseball. I used to play baseball all day, and then I would stop at Christie's to get a hot dog. And Christie's, as Afton Dean Smiles, was run by her family. So I've known her since she was a very young kid. We work together now and you hear her voice on games when she does some play-by-play on basketball games, and we work together. All the kids from Classical that work behind the camera with me, she teaches them. So, again, first thought, you get the call, you're going into the Classical Hall of Fame. What was your first thought?
So I got a letter in the mail, and it was postmarked from Lynn Classical, and I'm a teacher at Lynn Classical. So I said to myself, well, maybe this is just another school initiative or something along those lines. So I had no idea. So when I opened it, I was ecstatic, humbled, and also very surprised.
Well, I look, and I got to see this young lady perform, and she was very, very good. She was a shortstop. She took the mound a few times, and she was a three-time NEC All-Star. She was a Holland All-Star. She performed extremely well, went on to play in college. That's how good she was. Came back, worked very hard, got her degree, got her master's in teaching now, and back home, as I like to say, so many of these people that I've known, I've watched them grow up from Little League to Babe Ruth to high school, on to college. And what they do is they come back and give back to the city. And this young lady has done that. She's come back and given back in the form of teaching. So I'm sure you'll love it.
I think that's probably the greatest feeling, knowing that you're coming back where you came from, where it all began, and to be able to have an impact, especially on the students, and building relationships with them every day, and being able to teach them valuable lessons, whether it's in the classroom, whether it's to do with our subject area, which is TV production. It really is a great feeling at the end of the day.
And we always look and say, you can do anything you want. Bentley University is a pretty good place to go, and that you can call that home as well.
Yeah, I actually went back a couple years ago for my 5-year reunion, and it's amazing in 5 years what you can accomplish, and you're looking back, and I didn't have a path to be a teacher. I graduated with a business degree, and, I set out in the job market, and I started substitute teaching, and it kind of caught me by surprise that this is what I wanted to do, but I ended up enjoying that first run as a substitute teacher, and that made me want to pursue a career as an educator, and most notably because of the impact that I can have on the younger generation.
Well, you look, your master's from southern New Hampshire, and now the only unfortunate thing in your life is you came back to teach, and you got stuck with myself and Phil Terranzoni.
I can't say enough about you as well, Mr. Terranzoni. I still go back and watch games on DVD from Channel 15, and all you do for the Lynn community, yourself and Mr. Terranzoni, and being able to broadcast games for the younger students, the high school students. I'm sure they're going to look back one day and be able to see their games online or through DVD, and to be able to have those memories and cherish them forever is pretty special.
Well, it's been special for me because it's great knowing your family all the years I've had, and I'll get to work with you. And she does a terrific job with the kids, and classical games I never uncovered because their kids are there, because she makes sure she does a great job in the classroom. The kids are very professional, and she did the same thing when she was on the field. It was giving 110%, and it paid off. She's been very successful, and I'm sure the classical education has done you very well.
Yeah, that's where it all started, and I think everybody should always try to go back to that. Where did you begin? And I'll never forget where it all began. And at Lynn Classical, it taught me so many great life lessons, and it's a big reason why I am here today, because I molded into the person that I am today because of the teachers, the coaches, and everybody around me for those 4 years. So it is pretty special.
Well, I'm very happy for you, and we've been very close for a long time. It's almost like Phil and I are going in the Hall of Fame as well. I'm very happy for you, my pal.
Thank you.
Well deserved.
Thank you very much, John.
Right.
Thank you.
1977. Who would have thunk it? Did you think they forgot about you, James Guy, now that you're being inducted in the Hall of Fame?
I really didn't think about it because Danny Dill, I talked to with him all the time, and he kept telling me, hey, don't worry about it, you're going to get in there. So, hey, I just waited my time out, and hey, here I am.
You were a three-sport athlete back at Classical, and not just a three-sport athlete, you were a very good athlete. We go back, we're friends for a very long time. And I watched you play, I watched you perform, and you were as good as anybody I've seen over the years. You performed very well. The question I ask everybody, you get the notice, letter in the mail, phone call, what?
Yes, I did.
And you turn around and it says, Hall of Fame. Do you look and say, wait a minute, they must be talking about maybe my son or somebody else?
Exactly. That's what I thought, too. I thought it was my son at first, but hey, as time I got the call from Mr. Dill, I was so excited. I couldn't speak because I was speechless.
Well, you played basketball, you played football. All of a sudden you said, I think I'll try baseball, and you became an all-star in baseball as well.
Yeah, it was a football all-star. I made the all-star team in football, too, in baseball, but my favorite sport was baseball. I love baseball.
And we go back to Coach Wise,
Yes.
and not too shabby because you play for the football team, and what happens? You win a Super Bowl.
Yes, we did. Hey, Bill Wise, he told us as sophomores that by the time you guys are seniors, you guys are going to be champions. And it was true.
He was right.
He was right.
You were voted by your teammates, which is a big honor, the most valuable player in your senior year.
Yes.
That had to make you feel pretty good.
Yes, it did. Yeah, I was voted the most valuable running back on the team, but we all deserved it.
Well, and if you're going to get an honor from Lynn Classical, you might as well get to play in the Aganis game.
Yes, I did play in the Aganis game. I scored a touchdown in the Aganis game my senior year, but hey, it was a great feeling.
You look back now, and you have fond memories. You might be seeing people here you haven't seen in years from Lynn Classical. It's a great night, and it's got to be a terrific night. You got to be feeling very, very proud.
Yes, I am. I just went out. I seen Art Akers, Greg Meehan. He was my running mate, Greg Meehan. And I just talked to Earl Brown out there, too. So
I coached Earl Brown in CYO basketball.
Yeah, so hey, it's going to be a good night. It's going to be a good night. I'm really nervous.
And you look, and now when your family comes here, they can say, those stories you told us were really true. You were that good.
Yes. Especially my grandsons. I got 4 of them out there now. So hey, they're all sports. They play sports, all sports too.
All those sports stories you told them about yourself.
Yes, now they can say, I told you. That's right. That's right. Okay.
I'm happy for you, my friend. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Gene Constantino has done it all at Classical High School. He was the assistant principal, he was the teacher, he was the girls' coach. For many, many years. He's been a good friend of mine for a very long time. And Gene, I'm very proud, very happy for you. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. It's quite an honor. As a principal, I got to hand out the awards over the years, and it was a very meaningful evening for so many people, and I'm just honored to be a recipient this year.
I'm looking at your principal, U.S. News and World Report, on it. Classical is an outstanding high school. It doesn't get much better than that if you're the principal.
No, and the teachers were outstanding. The students have been great. It's just a wonderful place. It's actually a family atmosphere. I held on 6 years more than I probably should have. I could have retired 6 years earlier, but it was such a great place to go every day. I was really lucky to have a job that I love so much because the kids give you so much back as a principal. But I've been at Classical for 37 years, and I kind of have seen a lot of things, and it's just a wonderful place.
Well, it certainly has molded into a place, and even a better place under your tutelage. And you were very successful as the girls' basketball coach. I look back, you were the first one to go undefeated in the Northeastern Conference at Classical. And I remember doing the game. You were losing, coming down the stretch, and the young lady from Lynn threw the three-point basket in from the corner. And you wound in overtime, you win the game and kept the streak alive, and you went to the state tournament and did very well.
Yeah, that team was 20-0 during the regular season. Monique Lee got a scholarship to Quinnipiac. When Monique was a freshman, we had Helen Ridley's team, and they only lost 2 games all year. We had split with Salem, and we ended up losing a game to Marblehead during the season when Monique was actually injured and didn't get to play in that game, and we lost that championship by finishing tied with Salem. We should have probably finished tied with Salem. We're a great team. So the teams that I had, they always played hard. I mean, you used to joke with me about the 0-18 teams that we had. It took 3 years to get a win. Prior to that, they hadn't won a game in a number of years, and I think I got the job by default, really. And but I enjoyed all 19 years. That really was. And that team that Helen Ridley was on in freshman year when it was 0-18, that was probably one of my best teams. They came to practice every day. They played hard. They competed. They just weren't there yet, but it was an enjoyable team to coach. And, of course, the 20-0 team, I was like, please don't screw it up. I mean, those guys were 5 All-Stars, Paula McGinn, Monique Lee, Takia Faison, Ashley Donovan, Mary Baldini. It was just a great team that we had that year.
Well, it was sort of like a reverse of form, but and it's not a reversal now because you stepped aside, you finally did retire, and who turns up as one of the assistant coaches for the basketball team? Helen Ridley.
Absolutely, and Tom Sawyer, who's been the head coach since I left, has done an outstanding job. He helped me immensely during the time, the last 3 or 4 years that he was my assistant coach. He's been great. He's the smartest basketball mind that I have around. And I even had Brian McDormand for a couple of years after that 20-0 team. And we went 16-4 the next 2 years. And I credit Brian to really helping us with defense. So I had some great assistant coaches, Dennis Baldini, who's going in tonight for track, but he helped me with JVs. And he actually told me that watch out for this Tanika Brown. She's going to be a player. And I said, no, Dennis, come on. And he goes, no, you watch. And then she got a scholarship to Quinnipiac. So he knew his stuff, too. So I've been very lucky to have a lot of great people, including you know, the principal who's at Classical right now, Amy Dunn, was my first hire when I became a principal, and she's been my assistant principal all that time and had great administrators under me, and that's why we were successful.
Well, you've been a great friend of mine, and Tom Sawyer followed right in your footsteps because he's the same type of person as you are. He does a great job. Congratulations, my friend. I'm very happy for you.
Thank you, John, and thank you for all you've done all the years, covering all the games, and it really meant a lot to the kids and the coaches. Thank you.
Thank you. We got our next inductee going back to 1948. Most people remember Joe Kalina. If you did any bowling at all, or you traveled in any of the bowling circles, or you watched Channel 5,
Correct.
or you watched the different bowling shows, you saw the best ever in the area or any place else. Joe Kalina, absolutely fantastic. Moved out to California and tried to bring candlepin bowling out to California as well, and bowled some very big strings out there trying to get it going out there.
No, I never moved out there,
No, but
actually.
you went out there.
I went out there. They built a candlepin house and a 10-pin house. And I was out there for 2 or 3 weeks. And the big 10-pin scores and the candlepin scores, a different ball game.
Of course.
But I don't know how long it lasted, but we had a good time out there.
I'm sure you did. You look back, you bowled with some great people. I can remember at the Arco lanes, people were betting on the event, and they were betting heavy, and you were outside waiting to come in because once they saw you come through the door, they said, wait a minute, the bets are off. We're not betting anymore. We didn't think Joe was going to be here. It would Stickney and those guys, you're going to bowl with them.
No, that's not true. My former life, you know, you win some and you lose a lot.
You didn't lose many, I'll tell you.
No, we had our share. But the thing was, with any sport, you know, football, I was just talking to Lever Shore out there, and he did everything with one arm. And it's just a matter of being lucky and being there at the right time. That's the whole secret.
What was your first thought when you got the notice saying, you must have thought they forgot about you from 1948. What was your first thought when they said Hall of Fame, Lynn Classical?
No, you know, when I first heard that, I wasn't very interested because I hadn't done anything for so many years. And as time went on, and my wife was excited more than I was, but then as it came down to now, I said, boy, this is quite an honor. And I don't remember doing enough to get it, but I certainly appreciate it.
Well, you certainly did enough to get it, my friend. Your name bandied around. There weren't many people that didn't know the name Joe Kalina back in your day, and there weren't many guys that wanted to bowl you head to head because you beat a lot of guys.
You know, the thing was, Lynn at one time was probably the biggest city with the most candlepin bowlers ever. They had more candlepin bowlers than voters at one time.
I know.
But it was great.
And unfortunately, the Channel 5 program has gone by the wayside too,
Yeah.
and there aren't many left. Joe, congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm very happy for you.
And you know, I'm excited now about the whole thing.
You should be, and well deserved, my friend.
Thank you.
All right. We go right back to the Kalina family. Mike is here, and I'll ask you first, what was your first reaction when you found out you were being inducted in the Classical Hall of Fame?
Well, I was certainly honored. Surprised a little bit, but honored. I've been away for decades, and to have the ability to come back, see some old friends, and be honored is just beyond words.
Well, you were a three-sport athlete at Classical. You went on to play football at American International College. Growing up, you got to see Dad beat everybody on the bowling lanes and throw up some big scores and have a name bandied around, and then you made a name for yourself, and it's got to be a thrill. I know a lot of people here you haven't seen in years from past years at Classical. It's a great thrill being inducted in the Hall of Fame.
Well, I think certainly it's an honor to be inducted into the Hall of Fame, but more so because I'm being inducted in the class of 2019, which of course is led by my dad, Joe Kalina. And being inducted with my dad, we are joining my younger brother, Scott Kalina, who was inducted as part of the 1976 Hall of Fame team. And I suspect next year my mother.
You'll be running out of plaques. You'll be running out of room to put the plaques up.
We're okay. The Kalinas are okay with that.
I look in all around, not the country, but all around the world, you've been involved with a pretty good company called Walt Disney.
Yeah, it's a small company, little startup out of St. Louis, ended up in California. They had some, misses and
A
hits.
little bit of success.
They've had a few success, and yes, I'm an executive at the Walt Disney Company, yes.
That's going to be a thrill and a half as well.
It is, but I also started here in Framingham, Massachusetts with a company called Perini. And Perini is a large construction company, but I worked in their international division, and my first assignment with them was in 1983 over in the Middle East in the Sultanate of Oman. So I started with a local company, and now, of course, I work for the largest media entertainment company in the world.
And you also get to work, you did get to work in a courthouse and get to settle some cases between some people having battles going back and forth.
Yeah, I still do that. For the last 18 years, I'm a panel member on the American Arbitration Association, as well as the Los Angeles County Superior Court System for mediators and arbitrators. So I've done over 150 cases for them, and I enjoy it and continue to do a handful every year.
Well, obviously, your credentials certainly outweigh any negativity for the Classical Hall of Fame. It's very well earned, and I know you're thrilled going in with Dad as well. Almost the entire family are in here. Congratulations. Have a great night and well deserved.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Maybe you get to vote for this guy every once in a while, but he got voted tonight. They got a major vote tonight. Brendan, I should say Senator. I want to get this right. Senator Brendan Crichton. I've known this young man for a lot of years. We're very good friends. I know his entire family, and I go back with him when he was a very good athlete at Classical High School. We talk about three-sport athletes. He was four. He ran track as well as baseball, basketball, and football. But it's been a merry-go-round run for you, Brendan. You were working for Tom McGee in his office. You got elected in city as a counselor at large. All of a sudden it opens up. You take over Tom McGee's job as a senator. Going back and forth, you're doing a great job for the city, the state, and I'm so very proud of you.
Thank you so much, John. And you said I played four sports, but I wasn't very good at any of the four.
No, that's not true.
Blessed to be on one of the best Lynn Classic football teams ever, and thankfully tonight I get to enjoy this honor with Coach Durgan, who was his first year in coaching was 1997. That was my first year. I was a freshman, and got to play with kids I grew up with and playing Pop Warner, and went on to play some really memorable Lynn Classical teams. And it's an honor to be here. Humbled to be in a room full of legends tonight. So.
Well, now you're one of the legends.
Oh, well, I wouldn't go.
Now, I'm asking everybody, what was your first thought? You get the call or you get the letter in the mail, you open up, you look, Classical Hall of Fame. What was your first thought?
It was, a really chilling moment. It's, throughout my life, I always wanted to be a Ram growing up, playing the Westland Pop Warner. I dreamed of playing, varsity football at Lynn Classical, and had a chance to do that, 4 years with some great teams and great coaches, and then, got named captain at Classical, another just memorable moment in my life, and this one definitely fits up there. It's something about being a Ram. You have that pride, and it's part of your identity really for the rest of your life, and the lessons we learn from our coaches, our teachers, our teammates, and our families, really carry through. So it's a special moment tonight. I really appreciate it.
Well, they're all proud of you too, but surely the Lynn education, it takes a knock a lot of times. But when you look at all these great people here and Hall of Fames at the other schools, you look and say, we've got some very great people, and they became great starting out in Lynn Public Schools.
Absolutely. I mean, we've been an underdog city forever, and you know what? I'm fine keeping that, title there, and we'll continue to hustle and outwork everybody. And certainly the school system and our students and our teachers do a tremendous job, overcome all the obstacles in the world. And this room out here tonight, it's, I should have brought my autograph book and got some autographs from some of these stars out here. But and it's a community, and if we don't see each other, for a few years, just bumped into some of my old teammates. It's like we never left, and we'll always be, brothers and always be friends. And the Lynn Classical community, I can't say enough about it.
Well, you're doing a tremendous job. You moved up the ladder. You're now a senator, and you didn't take it for granted. You're out there working daily. You're going probably 24 hours a day. Your phone's probably ringing off the hook, and you work so hard for everybody, not just individuals, not just classical, for the entire state, but what you're giving back to the city as well. You had great examples in Tom McGee and Walter Boverini, and now you're doing your same footsteps. You're following those guys right in their guidelines. They did a great job, and you're doing a great job as well, my friend.
I really appreciate
I
it.
couldn't be more proud of you, kid.
Thank you so much, John. I really appreciate you. You've been great for so many years, and you bring such a value to the people of Lynn through your work here. So thank you.
Congratulations to you and your family. I know everybody's proud.
Thanks, John. Appreciate it.
We go back to 1969, Mark Cullinan. He was lifelong friends he made. Began his career at Boston Parks and Recreation Department, worked up Director of Planning and Development. Mark was appointed Chief Engineer for the Department of Environmental Management, Cape Cod Rail Trail, Lynn Heritage State Park, Town Administrator for Nahant. I started my career as a basketball player in Nahant, playing with the Gaudettes and the Tamases and the Tituses, all those kids back then. I know. Congratulations on your great night.
Oh, thank you very much. It's truly an honor.
Did you think maybe they forgot you in 1969? There's so many people being involved every year.
Be honest with you, I was shocked. My induction to the Hall of Fame is not athletic. It's lifetime achievement. Danny Dill, a lifelong friend of mine, came up and said he nominated me, and I was shocked, and I'm so pleased.
And you're doing very well. Maybe I might introduce you to my wife, because she likes to have things made, and you work with pottery and clay, and you put things together, and maybe I should put you together with my wife, and you can make a few things for the house.
Well, tell her to come and explore what we have at the Lily Pinkham Building in Lynn.
Right around the corner.
There you go. There's a lot of potters up there, a lot of people working with clay, and come to the clay school, and I'd love to meet her.
And I suppose 5 of the greatest people who are most happy about this are your 5 grandchildren.
Absolutely. Some of them are a little younger. The youngest is 4 months now. I have 3 children and 5 grandchildren. So.
And now when you look and you're doing this, and you're here with all these people, and you're being inducted, and it's a great night, your family probably says, we didn't know you were this important. This is a big wheel. It makes it great for you and your family.
I have a funny story. My daughter-in-law, her grandfather was Jim O'Leary, who was the principal, as you know, at Lynn Classical, and I was there, and I told her the other night, I said, your grandfather would be rolling over in his grave if he knew I was being inducted into the Hall of Fame.
So your first reaction when you get the thing, you look at it and say, what? I'm in the Hall of Fame.
Me? Why me? And because I thought it was all athletics, but Danny told me they had changed it over about 4 years ago, so I was pleased.
Well, I'm extremely happy for you. You and your family must be extremely proud, and you're going in with a great group of people. Congratulations. Have a great night.
Thank you very much.
The only reason this young man is going into the Hall of Fame is because I coached him in CYO basketball.
That's the only reason.
Earl Brown, we go back a long way. 1980 Lynn Classical. I was so proud of this young man. In spite of me, he turned out pretty well. I watched him play at Classical High School. He played very, very well. He played with one of the best basketball teams, if not the best basketball team I have ever seen anywhere, anytime, with all those guys, the Binghams and the Thurmans and the McGees, and those were great, great times. And you look back in those days, and it now come full circle, because now you're being inducted in the Classical Hall of Fame.
Which is very nice. It's about time, but it's very nice. I'm very proud that that I am being inducted to the Hall of Fame. Yes.
Merrill, you look at this. We haven't seen each other a long time. We knew each other for a very long time. You lived in East Lynn for a while, then you moved over to West Lynn, right near the old Classical High School is where you played.
That's correct.
And you were able to play at Classical High School just in time to play with those other guys.
Right.
And I used to tell everybody, this is the best basketball team I've ever seen, because 2 years in a row, the first year was Bobby Healy, the second year was Earl Brown, and I said, they're only good because I brought my 2 players here. The other 4 guys don't mean a thing.
That's fun. Yeah, it was fun. Yeah.
But now, You get the letter in the mail that says, Earl Brown, you're being inducted in the Hall of Fame. What's your first reaction?
My first reaction was I was ecstatic. I was like, wow, it's so proud to be seen and noticed after it's been a while, but I'm just grateful that they had a chance to include me a part of that team that we had in those 3 years that I was in high school, and won the Northeast 2 years conference, and then the state champions in 1980. So it was really an honor.
And you know you weren't a fluke because you went on to play at Framingham State, had some good years at Framingham State playing very well. And I'm very proud of you because now you're coming back and you're coaching 2 different sports for the handicapped kids. I'm looking at basketball, softball for Special Olympics.
Special Olympics, yeah.
That's great to give you time back.
Yes, I love it. I love it. I'm coaching these underprivileged kids that they're great kids, and something that you take for granted. They may not be able to dribble the ball fast or jump high or whatever, but they're great kids, and I love doing it.
When you look at those kids and you look at your life, and now your son's life, and relatives that maybe relatives of your wife, and you look and say, "Yeah, but for the grace of God, go I." You realize you don't have it as bad as you thought you did because you look at some of these people and see what they have to go through.
Yeah, and I look at that every day. I see what they go through. I say, I'm blessed and I'm grateful to be able to teach them what I know. You know what I'm saying? So it's a great privilege. Yeah.
Well, each year I come back to this Hall of Fame. It means a great deal for me because I'm involved with this every year, and I know most of the inductees are close personal friends. And I'm blessed that you're one of the best friends I've had. And I'm blessed to be back here with you now because I haven't seen you in a very long time. And it brings back some very good memories.
It does. It's awesome, yes. And I'm glad that you're sitting here with me doing this. It's
I'm
great.
very proud of you, my friend.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations. Have a
Very
great
welcome.
night.
Thank you very much. You too. All right.
I talk about every year I come back to do this, and it's a great thrill for me to do this because I get to see. Like the last guy I had on was Earl Brown, who I coached. I haven't seen in a long time, but a very good friend. And then, of course, I find guys that I have probably never met before that come on, and I have to introduce myself because I don't know the guy next to me. But obviously I'm kidding because I've known Matt Turk and his family almost all his life, and we've been great friends for a long time. Outstanding football player, outstanding football coach. And the first thing I got to say, Matt, is you got to be extremely proud and excited. And it brings back some really good memories because you're being inducted to the Classical Hall of Fame, which your father is already in.
It's a great honor to be inducted in the Classical Hall of Fame. They have great tradition athletically, academically. My dad was inducted. My dad attended Classical, loved Classical, and my first connection to Classical was going to Thanksgiving Day rallies with them. So it all started from there, and it's because of my dad, and thank you.
You bounced around, Lynn. You had a great career. You've got the winningest percentage, most wins by any coach in the city. But you found a home at Classical for a long time, and then you found a home at St. Mary's. You took them to 2 Super Bowls. Unfortunately, you came up short, but everybody doesn't win their last game. Most people lose their last game long before the Super Bowl. So it had to be a thrill to go to 2 Super Bowls. But I'm going to ask you first, what was it when you got the letter in the mail with your family, look and you say, you're going into the Hall of Fame at Lynn Classical?
I was, surprised and humbled. Then there's always a question like, do you deserve to be in there, and all the names that are in there. But it's a great honor again, and anything to do with Lynn Classical is an honor, and it's well respected throughout the state.
Well, you won sectionals, you won states, go to Super Bowls. You had, you didn't have many losing seasons. And I think the big thing for you is you created and molded a lot of terrific young men because it's got to be a thrill for you when these kids come back and say thank you when you watch the kids that you coached go on and do some pretty good things.
You talk about the wins in the Super Bowl, and those are all great experiences, but I was very fortunate to coach great kids and great athletes, and the bottom line is you're not going to win without talent. And I have to mention the assistant coaches we had were tremendous. Derek Day and I had the opportunity to coach 20 years with. I mean, we've been friends a long time, and Tommy Donahue 17 years, Brian Mulvey 10, Jeff Newall over 10, and Harold Watler. Just guys that I surrounded myself with great coaches, talented assistants, worked well with kids, and most important, we had a lot of talent.
Globe Coach of the Year, New England Patriots Coach of the Week. Those are two terrific honors. And I look back now, I've been doing this a very long time, so we've been together a very long time, because the first game I ever did was Lynn Classical against Saugus with you coaching, and that got me started. So I blame you. I tell my wife, blame Matt Durgan, because the first game I did was his game, and it got me going. I've been going ever since.
John, you've been around a long time. Your commitment to, and it's not just Lynn, it's the whole North Shore knows who John Hoffman is, and I know people come to you for films and to help get into college and that type of stuff that people don't see, off screen. They see for a couple hours, but I know what you do with others and families, and thank you for that.
I remember one of the big moments between you and I. We back then we would Warner Cable and Channel 3, and we could do live games from Swampscott, Lynn, Fraser Field. We were doing a live telecast at Swampscott Classical, and we announced, put the camera on, you saying, Matt just became a father.
Yeah, that was special, John, and those are the type of things I'm talking about with you. Is it's far beyond the fields and the sports, and you knew how important that was to us and our family, and Molly. Now Molly's 24-year-old woman, so.
Yeah, a long time ago.
Amazing.
But you've been great to a lot of people. You've helped a lot of people. You're still doing it now. You're still involved in the Aganis games. You're still working in the schools. You're still helping the young kids. You've been a great role model for a lot of people. This is so well-deserved for you to be here, and I'm very happy for you, my friend.
Thank you, John. Thank you so much, and thank you for everything you do. And again, I'm just fortunate to coach a long time and have great players and surround myself with great people. But thank you so much.
And win a few games along the way.
And hey, it's nice to win, too.
Quite a few.
No, it's nice.
Congratulations.
Thank you, John.
The list just keeps getting longer with all my friends getting inducted in the Hall of Fame. Alvin Brewer, tremendous basketball player, and Lynn Classical graduated 2005. Tonight it's been 2005, 1948. So you're going to feel pretty good. You're one of the younger ones, but I told Alvin I didn't recognize him with this because he didn't have that when he was playing. But again, the same question for everybody. You get the letter in the mail, you open up, Classical Hall of Fame. What was your first thought?
Honestly, it was surreal. I honestly was shocked. I was honored, humbled, a mixture of emotions that honestly it's just had me count my blessings and just brought me back to my time at Classical.
Well, I'm looking at this and I'm reading this. You played in the Harry Aganis game. You were in NEC basketball all-star game. More importantly, 3.3 GPA. Yeah. I didn't know you were that smart. I just thought you were an athlete.
No, I mean, it all starts from home. My mother preached on us to make sure we get good grades, to put ourselves in better positions and opportunities after high school. And just as much as I worked hard on the court, I worked off the court in the classroom. It was very, very important to me.
You went to, I'm looking at this, the Gunnery Boys to Men Academy, earned a full scholarship to the University of New Hampshire, 3-year team captain, not too shabby, and Rookie of the Year the first year. So all that court action from Lynn all the way up through Classical High School bode you pretty well.
Yes, I mean, Lynn prepares you for those situations. Like I said, I wanted to put myself in the best opportunity for me to embrace that opportunity at the college level. And luckily with Coach Harry and at UNH and the staff there, along with my teammates, I was able to step into a leadership role at the end of my freshman year, and it went pretty well for me.
Well, I'm looking at some of these things. You were 4th in field goal percentage, 4th in field goals made, 5th in free throws, 10th in steals, graduated cum laude, sports study degree, master's degree in sports management. I'm in awe just sitting next to you, Alvin. We were friends for a long time. You're outweighing everything I knew way back then. I knew you were very good. I didn't know you were this good.
Well, in this game in basketball, you have to have a short-term memory, and honestly, every accolade was not really noticed and kind of cherished till now. Till now, when I had to actually, put it down in my bio, and I actually sat back and said, "Wow, like I had an amazing career. Definitely, I was very, very blessed, very fortunate to do things that have such a low percentage for one to do, especially from Lynn. Coming from Lynn Classical, I carry a lot of pride with me. So it's something definitely I'm very, very proud of, something that I want, my son and my future kids and my family to be proud of. And definitely this Hall of Fame is a staple of that, of something that's going to carry on forever.
Well, I look, and you had to have your bags packed like every 2 minutes because you played basketball professionally. Germany, Italy, Tunisia, Jordan, Colombia, Dominican Republic. Good God, you traveled all over the world. This is the time when you come back here a night like tonight, and all the stories that you told your family and your kids, they can now say, gee, you were really telling the truth. You really were that good.
Yeah. I mean, my son's 12 now. He's at an age, he's into basketball, and like you said, they only see the films and people talk about it, but I was very fortunate to play professionally. Like you said, my bags were always packed. I was on call. There's a lot of sacrifice that came with that as well. Sacrificing time at home, sacrificing time with my son, my family, was something that, looking back at it now, the experience to be able to experience different countries as a local while I'm playing, doing something that I loved, is something that I wouldn't trade for the world. It's definitely, there's no price tag on that, and something that definitely grew me as a professional as well as a man.
Well, now you're giving back. Now you see the other side of the coin. Those other people that live on the other side of the city. You got to come back and be an assistant coach at Lynn English High School, and you look at that and you say, all you did there was break an 80-year curse and win a state championship, losing only 2 games all year and beating teams badly. And it looks like you're building a boat because you got almost everybody back from next year with other people coming in. So the future looks very bright for the Bulldogs now. You're gonna see it on both sides.
Yeah, definitely. I thank Antonio Anderson for the opportunity 2 years ago to hire me to be a part of his staff. He had a plan to change the culture academically first, as well as athletically in that school, and I'm proud to be a part of that change. Most importantly, the icing on the cake this year was winning the state championship after 80 years. And my goal is to be able to leverage my experience, my time playing, my academics, anything they need now to give it back and reach one and grab one from our city, from our local youth, to be able to help them, not only just on the court, but off the court with, some connections, networking that we have as a staff. We're able to put them in opportunities to be able to, if they wanted to advance their career after college, we can attract that interest for them as well. But they know we have to put themselves in the best position, which is academically. We don't allow anyone to play with any D's or F's.
Well, you're talking about Antonio Anderson. He almost hit the trifecta. He won a state championship with Tech. He wins the state championship coaching. He went to the Final Four and almost won the Final Four. And guess what? He's being inducted in the Tech Hall of Fame. So now English is going to have 2 Hall of Fame coaches on their bench, and both very well deserved, and your night is very well deserved. I'm so happy for you. After watching you all those years, becoming friends for a long time, congratulations, well deserved.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
We have athletes and we have musicians. Brian Mays, class of 1974. You were very young, started playing a trumpet, and all of a sudden that turned into gold for you, I guess.
Well, when I was in high school, I started playing keyboards and being a singer in different bands, and ended up going to Berklee College of Music and graduated from there in '79, and I've been a full-time musician ever since.
And it got to travel around the world, different countries, with some big-time people, being in bands with some big-time people.
Yes, I've been very fortunate. Just stayed at it, and got some good opportunities, and played with the members of the rock group Boston, and played with Peter Wolf from the J. Giles Band. Did a lot of opening spots for bands like Aerosmith and U2 and the Kinks, and just been doing it ever since I hit the ground running after college, and it's been a wonderful, wonderful journey.
Nationally with those people, Boston was another one that you got involved with, a lot of big names, and that had to bode you very well. And you look back at your classical education saying everything you gave me, got me started. Little steps while you're in school turned into big steps later on, and bode for a terrific future and a great career for you.
You're very right. Received a lot of great mentorship. Even in high school, along with my music studies, I played a lot of sports too, so I got the benefit of learning a lot about the team mentality and being under coaches like the Gunning family and Melanson, and it was a wonderful thing. It helped me a lot in my music career as well.
And, I look at this, and you got to play with a lot of big bands, and you also wrote some music.
Yeah, I got a chance to present a few of my songs, and one of them got used on an album from the former members of the rock group Boston in a band called RTZ, and it reached number 26 on the Billboard charts.
And you got the distinction of being with a band that played the last gig at the old Boston Garden before it got torn down.
It was a wonderful experience, growing up in the Boston area as a kid, going to see the Bruins and playing at the Boston Garden for the last time, see the doors close there was a real honor.
Peter Wolf had to be a big part of your life as well. All these big guys you got to perform with and help you along the way.
Absolutely, great band leader. Taught me a lot. Was on the road with him for 7 years, and still a good friend of mine. And I learned an immense amount from Peter.
You had an album that was number 7 on the Billboard. That's pretty good for a classical graduate.
Well, yeah, it was on the Billboard Blues charts. I was in a band called Ernie and the Automatics with Ernie Bach Jr. and 2 of the former members of the rock group Boston, Sib Hashin and Barry Goodrow.
Rock opera was a big part too.
I composed a rock opera with another man, George Simpson. We worked together on that, and we went down to Broadway and got some interest on that and performed a number of times to great, enthusiastic audiences, and it was a great, fun thing.
The question I have is, you open up the envelope and pick it up, and it says Link Classical Hall of Fame. What did you think?
Well, first I said to Dan, I said, are you teasing me? Is this a joke? And Dan said, no, Brian. He said, we're proud to have you. And I said, wow, I'd never expected this. He said, it's not just about, achievements in sports. It's about other kinds of achievements. And I'm very honored.
Well, you've done a terrific job. You've represented the city, the school, yourself, your parents, your friends in a terrific manner. And it certainly is a great honor and well-deserved for you to be here tonight.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations. Have a great night.
Thank you.
And Sick, please say a big hello to that wonderful singer that you had that opened up singing the Star Spangled Banner at the games this year. That I had her on TV. She was on TV before you were.
She'll be back. She's only a sophomore. She's got 2 more years.
Terrific. I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations. We've gone from baseball to basketball to football to track, and now we make the rounds because we're going to go to hockey. James Rooney, 1966. Did you think they forgot about you?
No, I didn't. I really don't think I deserve it.
Oh, I'm sure you do. Everybody says the same thing, but it's a great honor. I got to ask you, you'll get the call or you get a letter in the mail and it says, James Rooney, 1966, you're being inducted in the Classical Hall of Fame. What was your first thought?
Danny Dill called me, and Danny used to be my bat boy when I was coaching baseball, and I just couldn't believe it. It's a thrill, I played for the best hockey team that Classical ever had, and
Were the Winovsky brothers back then with you or before?
No, they were before me.
They were before you.
But I got Dakin and Weir.
Of course, Dakin went back to be the coach.
Yeah, Dakin and Weir and Dwight Weir and Jimmy
Sure.
Nelson, Hawkeye O'Connor,
Yeah.
Ricky Sakarowicz.
Yeah, that was a great group.
They were all great.
Yeah. You played there. You went to work at the GE.
Yes.
You left the GE to do bigger and better things.
Wow.
Thank you for your service, doing two terms in Vietnam.
Yep. I went on the police force after that, and I was on the underwater recovery team and on motorcycles.
You came back to work at the GE and hang around for a little bit, and then decided I might like to be a cop. I'm going to join the police force.
Yeah.
How was that?
interesting. I patrol Roxbury, Dorchester, Revere Beach, you know, on a motorcycle, and good old days.
But again, giving back. You gave back going to Vietnam. You give back driving the streets, trying to keep people safe. That's, you know, it's great. Looking back at your classical education, are there any teachers, principal, or any schoolmates, not the hockey, you mentioned the hockey, but kids you went to school with that you look back, and especially when you were going in the Hall of Fame here, you might look back and say a couple of teachers or a principal or assistant principal or a classmate that helped you along the way?
Well, I had a very good friend in high school who joined the military, got drafted at military, and he got killed over in Vietnam, Jimmy Hazard. And me, him, and Stan Coolin were best buddies. Jimmy should be in the Hall of Fame for giving his life for the country.
Well, look, in the light of your life, this now goes on the mantle with your 3 kids and your 3 grandkids. You're very proud of them as well.
Yes, I am.
I'm sure they're very proud of you tonight.
I hope they are.
Yeah. And I think what is a blessing for you is you had cancer. And look at this, a 10-year cancer survivor. So it shows that you can overcome if you work at it.
Yeah, I've had 3 brain operations, 02, 07, and 09. And the 09 was brain cancer. And they wanted to give me chemo and radiation. I refused it. And I went to a place in Florida. They taught me what the cancer fighters were and how to diet and cut out sugar. I had to cut out drinking, smoking, having coffee, and all in the same month. And I'm glad I did. So I'm a 10-year
Well,
survivor.
you surely made the right choice because you look terrific, my friend. And now, with the 3 kids and the 3 grandkids, hockey player, all this stuff, being in the Hall of Fame with all these great people, you get to see maybe some classical people you haven't seen in years, family members, and now your kids and your grandkids can say, those stories you told us about how good you were, they now can say, now we believe you.
I hope so.
A great honor to have you here. Thank you again for your service. Congratulations. Have a great night.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well deserved. Again, my good friends just keep getting inducted to the Classical Hall of Fame. I've known this young man next to me for a long time. We were teammates in fast pitch softball. We played for those band of renegades. Frank Carey, Tony Nicosia, Billy Devon, Buddy Papagelis, both the Rabinos. We had some great times together.
Oh yeah, softball games. But you were more noted for the games at Salem State, weren't you? With those long bombs.
Yeah.
Set shots from
3-point shooting. They didn't
60
have
feet
back
out.
then.
Yeah.
They didn't have it back then. You worked through it. You became the baseball coach at Classical. First of all, you went to Salem State and played there, and you won a baseball championship.
Well, I was like the 10th man, okay? I didn't go out my junior year because I wanted to make sure I got through school. And believe it or not, we had DeSarcina as a shortstop and Giacomo at the third base. We had a kid named Caldwell, undefeated. He was with the Tigers, AAA. We went undefeated, but it was a very, very good team.
Well, you did a pretty good job. I'm looking, saying, with Link Classical, NEC championships, 81, 83. You won. The Clancy is coming up. You know about that. You won one of those.
Yeah.
But because of you and Bart Conlon and Jimmy Jettis and Frank Carey, the Clancy term has been going on for many, many years. Gave a lot of scholarship money to a lot of kids.
Absolutely, yeah. There's no doubt about that.
And you got to work with your best friend Frank Carey on the basketball camps, summer camps.
Let's not push it too far. Yes. 20 years, almost 20 years, I guess, when we were down there.
And again, gave back to the kids, worked hard, tried to teach kids not only baseball, but life as well.
Yeah. Yes.
It was good time. Those are fun times.
Yeah, we'd have a coaches meeting on a Wednesday, and evaluation day on Thursday night. We take home and write about the ball players, and then Friday would be evaluation day.
How about some of the kids at Classical that played on those championship teams?
Oh, well, we had a couple, Kenny Hill and Tony Hill, the Hill brothers, George Doucette, I believe, Chucky Dwinell.
Kenny Hill turned out pretty well, going to pitch for Montreal, being in the major leagues, and now
He's did 15 years, I believe.
yeah, and his kid has now become a well-known quarterback.
Yes. Kenny's kid, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's I think he's the assistant quarterback for Texas A&M. I'm not sure.
And all those years when you were coaching, you'd go out and scream and yell at all those umpires. And now you turn around and you become an umpire.
Yeah, but they deserved it. I didn't.
Now you become an umpire.
Yeah.
Dick,
I didn't have too much of a problem.
Dick, you look at the envelope you get, you open it up and it says, Dick Mag, Classical Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
What was your first thought?
Not really. There's too many great people in here.
Yeah, but you're one of them.
Well,
you certainly made a mark at Classical.
I guess I lucked out, you know.
Classical lucked out.
I say my guardian angel was looking over me.
And you weren't bad. You talked about me shooting. You were a pretty good basketball player, too. Basketball, baseball at Classical.
Yeah, well, I had to study, so. Oh, I was thinking of Salem State. Yeah, and high school, it's all right.
Yeah, you had a great career.
Yeah. I played with Pianist Johns and Sidman.
And the big thing is a lot of people go through, I remember saying, at the end of your time, if you can count the very good friends you have on one hand, you've had a pretty good year. You got an awful lot of friends.
Don't tell me you're going to just stick me at the thumb with Carey.
But you got an awful lot of friends. You got an awful lot of people, and you've
been
dealt
fortunate.
with a lot of great people.
Yeah, it's a great. I looked out into the audience as I was coming before Eddie Toner came and got me. It was like a who's who.
Absolutely, and you're part of that, my friend. You've had a great impact on a lot of lives with the kids going through Classical and baseball. And this is a night that's well deserved. I'm happy for you, my friend.
John, thank you very much. We appreciate it, and they are super Hall of Famers.
Congratulations. Next inductee, Dennis Baldini, 1974. We run the gamut with all of the different sports. Now we have a track star running spring track, winter track, mile. I even think about running a mile. I don't drive a mile in my car. I have a store around the corner that's about 50 yards away. I drive my car over there to get the milk and bread and drive back. I don't even walk over there, never mind run. How'd you get into running, especially mile, 2 mile?
Well, I was really inspired by the great long distance and middle distance runners of the late 1960s and early 1970s. Kip Kano, Jim Ryan, Frank Shorter, Steve Prefontaine, and Dave Waddle. That was a big era for long distance running, and that's really what generated me.
Well, your team gave you a very, really leadership character award, Michael D. Sullivan, voted on by your teammates. That had to be a big thrill.
That meant more to me than any other trophy because it was coming from my teammates. In fact, I remember a classmate asking me which award meant the most to you, and that actually meant more than any trophy that I ever got running track, because it came from the group of runners that I was with every day for years.
Well, then you went on to run at Salem State College.
Yes, I ran there for 4 years for Coach Bill Gillis, who I still see, actually. I visit him over the summer.
And now you get to be involved with students teaching at Saugus, and that had to be very rewarding.
Yes, I taught for 22 years as a special educator at Saugus, and I coached basketball in Lynn for 25 years, and 10 years at Classical, actually, with Coach Constantino and Coach Sawyer.
We talked about that. Gene Constantino talked about what a great asset you were. But my next question is, you get the letter in the mail or the phone call that says, Dennis Baldini, 1974, you're being inducted to the Classical Hall of Fame. What was your first thought?
I was elated, absolutely elated. I couldn't be happier.
Well, along the way, you got to see family members play, and you got to see your wife be the official scorer for all the games. So it was a family atmosphere at Classical for the Baldinis.
Yes, and we're still there. A couple of times a week, my wife is still doing the book for the varsity and JV team, home and away. So I get to go to the games still.
I looked at, talking to Gene Constantino, and you'll certainly remember, you were part of the coaching staff with them. You coached the JVs for a while, and then you were part of that when the varsity went 20-0. And I talked about the one game where it looked like they were going to lose, and the young lady hit a big three from the corner. Ashley Donovan hit the big three in the corner. I would see her at St. Pius Church once in a while, and I'd say, three-point shooter. She'd get a big smile on her face. And that saved the 20-0 year.
Yeah, and I made her very aware of that. She came back and she helped us coach later on. And she was going to school for physical therapy, and I had hurt my back. She gave me some exercises, and I didn't have to travel. I could go to practice.
You know what was amazing, Dennis? At St. Pius Church, I looked and I thought I saw her. And I ran over, threw my arms around the woman, and said, "Good to see you. It brings back great memories." It wasn't her. I said, "You're a spitting image." I thought you were the one that hit the three-point shot. I was a little bit embarrassed, but she took it very well. But
I see her mom frequently because mom's principal of OLA in Linfield. And my granddaughter's there. I picked my granddaughter up, so I see Mrs. Donovan.
Yeah, Mom and Dad and the daughters have become very good friends. It was funny. One played at Classical, one played at St. Mary's.
Yeah.
So they traded them off.
Yeah.
I said, which school is better? And then I had to walk while they argued. I'd walk away. But you had a great, you go through a career, and I always mention this, 9 to 5 is a job. You meet some people, you make some friends, you maybe go out to eat with people. But when you're a teacher, you can look back now, when you put your head in the pillow and look up at night, you can say, I'm really ecstatic. I had a lot of impact on a lot of people.
I'm very grateful that I had the opportunity to do that. As I said, I did it for many years. It was super rewarding.
Well, you look at the people that were on the teams when you were coaching or when you were helping out, those young ladies, teaching special education students, all those people, you had such an impact on an awful lot of people. It's no wonder they're putting you into the Hall of Fame at Classical.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be a great thrill for you, your wife, the kids, and you really have been a big part of the Classical. Even though you taught at Saugus, your family has been a huge part of the Classical fraternity.
Well, I enjoyed it. I coached the JV team. I helped with the varsity team, and Gene would hold court after the practices, and we'd stay there probably for another hour after. Yeah, but it was fun.
You got some great memories to look back to, and now you got another one. The Hall of Fame here tonight.
Thank you very much,
Congratulations.
John.
We've known each other for a long time.
I appreciate it.
I know how well you deserve this.
Thank
you
very
happy
much.
for you and your family.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Have a great night.
Thank you.
Last but not least, we talked about Alvin Abreu being a great athlete at Classical and then switching over to Lynn English and becoming a basketball coach and help leading him to a state championship. Well, this young man graduated from Lynn English going into the Classical Hall of Fame because he had an awful lot of input and a lot of impact on Classical High School, and an awful lot of students did a tremendous job. Bill Frost, former principal at Classical, was assistant with Nick Costin, and then took over when Nick Costin moved on to become superintendent, and he became the assistant superintendent moving along. So he's had a huge impact on the education and the people being educated in the city of Lynn. And we've been friends for a long time, and Bill Frost, I'm very happy for it. Congratulations.
Well, thank you, John. I must say I'm not only pleased, but I'm extremely proud to be inducted into the Classical Hall of Fame. As you pointed out, this is the second one I'm being inducted to, so it's really an honor, and I thank everybody involved.
Well, we look at this now, and you get the call, or you get the letter, you open up, and it says, Bill Frost, graduating from Lynn English, you're being inducted into the Classical Hall of Fame. What was your first thought?
Well, I thought it might be a little awkward. However, my entire teaching and administrative career in the Lynn Public Schools was in West Lynn. I started at Breed, the old Breed, worked through the new Breed, and then came up to Classical, so I'm a Ram.
Well, you never forgot your roots being at Classical. Your family has endowed a scholarship at Classical, which is a tremendous thing to do. Most people would say, I'm retiring, I'm going to Florida, Classical's in the back window, but you and your family still want to be a part of Classical and still helping students at Classical, and that's a tremendous thing for you and your family to do.
Well, that was done 4 or 5 years ago and was a complete surprise to me. They kind of gave it to me as a Christmas present, and of course I was extremely happy that took place.
You look at through your career, and you've had a great career, and there are a lot of people who go to work 9 to 5, do the same job every day. They might intermingle with some people, but you have the great treat of dealing and helping and molding young people, and it's got to be a great thrill for you to see, just in this room out here, people that have moved on, being inducted tonight, so many over the years, so many from Lynn English, from all the Lynn kids that you've helped, being whether it be at Classical, as a superintendent, going through. It's got to be a tremendous thrill for you when you look and see, you bump into some people, you find out they've really moved on and become important people or successful people. They're having good lives, and to know that you had maybe not even a small, maybe a major impact on all of these people.
Well, I don't know how much of an impact I had, John, but certainly it's rewarding at a function like this when you see, I just can't count how many of my former students I've encountered here.
Sure.
And you're right, though, to see them being successful and getting honors like this, it's really rewarding.
Well, you look at this, and I look at you and I say, you as a teacher in the class, and all the teachers in the class, they see the kids probably more than their families do. They're in there all day, and when they go home, the kids are out maybe playing a ball game or running around the streets. The family might get to see them at supper time if they're probably, but over the course of a year, add up the hours the teachers spend with the kids, it's probably a lot more than the families do, especially during the school season.
Well, you're right, but there's absolutely one thing that must be emphasized here. As an educator, you really learn to treasure and are grateful to the families for sending you their children and for helping, them with us through their school experience. That's very rewarding.
And you look back, and as I said, some people go 9 to 5, they retire, they go to Florida, they sit in a chair, and they might have 4 or 5 people, but they can't really look back on history and say, I did this, I did this, I did that. But someone like yourself have got memories that will live on forever, and not only that, after we're all gone, there's still going to be memories back there. People are still going to remember Bill Frost because of that little nice thing you did for them. You helped them in class, or you opened a door for somebody, or you did something nice for a person, and everybody remembers Bill Frost, and they do it with a smile on their face, and that's got to be the most rewarding thing of all.
Well, it certainly is rewarding, but again, it's also humbling to know that you've impacted so many lives over the course of a 40-year career.
Well, it's a great night for you, for your family. It's well-deserved. You certainly have had a major impact on the city of Lynn and a lot of the young people, and you're still having an impact because you still get around and help people. You've been one of those people that really like to give back and help other people, and I'm happy for you, my friend. Congratulations.
Thank you, John. A pleasure.
We've run the gamut with all the inductees. We've talked to everybody that's being inducted. We're going to end it right here, our portion, and in a very short time, you're going to be able to see all of these people up being inducted and giving their induction acceptance speeches and being handed their citations, and you get to see them one more time. But it's been a thrill for me to be here with all of these people, especially so many great friends, and that's the reason I like to come back, and I hope I can keep coming back for a long time, because there's an awful lot of very close personal friends that I get to talk to, some that I haven't seen, like Earl Brown, for a very long time. So I hope you enjoyed this part, and I hope you enjoyed the next part, and I want to thank everybody for inviting me and everybody back, and congratulations to all of the inductees, all of my good friends, all great people, and all well-deserved. So now we'll turn it over to the head table.